is it worth practicing when you don't have a lot of time? So on this morning woodshed, I just want to talk about like what do you do when you're not feeling like it? When it's like I don't want to practice, which is exactly how I was feeling this morning when I got up. Honestly, still kind of feeling now, right? I didn't want to hit the button, say hi, figure out what I was doing, practicing and stuff. So I just want to talk about that. I had this realization at music school when I was switching from bass to guitar, really learning how to play and stuff like that. That like I as a bass player, I just played all the time because I had to. I was in school, I was in a bunch of orchestras, I played in, a bunch of jazz combos and bands and stuff. And so there was just always this music to play, right? So I was always learning stuff just via being in a group and having to play and having to practice and having to rehearse. The problem was when I started playing guitar, right? Like I'm kind of the low man on the totem pole. Like I was not the best bass, or I was not the best player because I was a bass player and I'm trying to learn this new instrument. And so it's not like I'm getting called for all these gigs and turning everybody away. I'm just trying to practice and learn. And a lot of times it can feel hard to play, right? Like you don't feel motivated. There's those days you get a solid 8 hours of sleep, you feel amazing, everything's great, you're happy, you feel wonderful, you can't wait to play guitar, you're working on a cool topic, and like that totally happens. And certainly playing your favorite songs are that way, but a lot of times practicing just isn't, it's not the fun thing to do. It's not something that you're looking forward to. And I had this realization about like 6 months in. I had all this like list of things I needed to learn and all these scales and all these things. And I realized if I had just committed to practicing 10 minutes every day, and I also realized, even only 5 minutes every day, I would have been so much further ahead than I was 6 months in because I kept missing practice sessions. I kept not doing the things that were important to me. I kept working on everything but the things that were on my list that I felt like I had to know. And if I just said, hey, I'm going to take this little 10-minute block every day and I'm going to do it. And I think it's really important to realize something like that. It's really important to realize that little and often really is the best way to practice. And like every guitar teacher I've ever heard ever says, practice little and often, right? But why are we doing that? And it's because we're really trying to build the muscle memory. We're trying to build the habits. We're trying to build the reflex in our hands, in our ears, in our brains. It's not so much like we're learning how to do math or learning a particular problem or trying to figure out how to do a particular thing and just get it done and get it done really well. What we're trying to do is we're trying to play by reflex, and that's what really matters. And creating time to do that is super important. And so I'll say there have been seasons in my life, like I said, when I first switched to guitar where I was really dragging my feet. I was really struggling to practice because it wasn't fun, But I realized if I just made that time kind of sacred, like that was my time with the instrument to experiment, to play, to have fun, even though I was in school or even though I'm playing songs or even though I'm working on anything else I might want to be, I'm still playing what I want to play for a small amount of time every day. I'm always moving that forward. And so I think we want to treat guitar, at least a little piece of it, right? Like something that brings you excitement, that brings you joy, that brings you closer to your goals, even on the days that it doesn't, kind of like brushing your teeth, right? It's something that we do to take care of ourselves and you don't miss it, right? Like how tired do you actually have to be to not brush your teeth in a day? And I think it's the same thing about picking up the guitar for 5 or 10 minutes. And if you're a beginner, it's as simple as, hey, I'm just playing, 2 chords back and forth that I know, or 3 chords that I know back and forth for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Because if you go 3, 4, 5 days without playing in your first 6 months of playing guitar, you're missing these golden opportunities to build that muscle memory and to build that dexterity. And again, I know this because I did that. Right? I went that long without really taking time to practice certain things when I was really first starting out. And as you become a more intermediate player, if you're not, running that scale that you really want to work on, running that pattern, playing that lick, you're not going to get any closer to it. And so even some days when you're not feeling like, yeah, I can't wait to do it, or, oh, I'm so tired, and it's going through the motions can be the best thing that you do, right? You're just committed to yourself and the thing you want to do. And I think the best way to do that is to think about this feeling of playing guitar So when you're first starting out, you have this dream of what it's going to be like when you're like jamming out and playing with your buddies and why you like it and how much fun it is. You want to hold on to that and remind yourself, like, if I don't pull this out of the case, I'm not going to get there. And then once you've done that and you realize how fun it is, you know, you're in a situation where, sorry, you're in a situation where you're remembering how good that feels, and you're practicing to get there and to do that more, right? So you're trying to hold on to that feeling of how awesome playing guitar is when you're doing the thing that you love to do. And for me, it's really playing in a group. Like I love playing with a band. Recording, writing, performing is really fun. But like sitting down in a rehearsal, working out parts, playing together, I get a huge kick out of it, and I really love working through those things. And so what I have to do is, on the days where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this, I want to remind myself, like, what gigs or what bands or what people am I going to be able to play with that I can't play with right now because I don't have insert XYZ skill here. All right, so that's it for today. It's just all about, even when you don't want to practice, you got to hold on to that image, hold on to that feeling of exactly what you know playing guitar can be, and remember that that's what you're working towards. And even when you don't feel great, you go through the motions and you do it anyway. And I promise you will reap the rewards. Sow now, reap later. Y'all have a great day.